Not every spell in the wizarding world shouts with lightning or crackles with power. Some drift quietly in the margins of books, whispered in corridors, or tucked into the pages of old spellbooks rarely opened. These obscure charms hold their own kind of wonder, small flickers of light, soft shields of protection, gentle tricks of transformation. To wander through them is like strolling Hogwarts at night, candle in hand, each step uncovering secret glow. They are not grand displays of battle, but quiet companions of everyday life, spells that hush, protect, reveal, or comfort. Read slowly, as if each incantation were lullaby. Let the rhythm of their names and the imagery of their effects ease the day from your shoulders. In these forgotten corners of magic, peace lingers. Here, you are invited to drift, to dream, to let every spell carry you gently toward sleep. Muffliato is one of those spells that lingers quietly in the background of wizarding life, rarely celebrated yet endlessly useful. With a soft flick of the wand and the murmured syllables Muffliato, the caster fills the ears of everyone nearby with a faint buzzing sound, like the droning of bees on a warm summer afternoon. Conversations vanish into privacy, shielded from eavesdroppers without walls or doors. The marauders' mischief-loving boys, who roamed Hogwarts decades before Harry, are thought to have developed it, and one can easily imagine their laughter echoing through hallways as professors turned puzzled ears toward harmless static. Yet beyond pranks, Muffliato is deeply practical. It creates boundaries, small sanctuaries where words can flow safely, where hearts can speak without fear of being overheard. There is something almost dreamlike in its effect. Imagine a candle-lit dormitory, curtains drawn around beds, while whispered secrets pass between friends. Outside those curtains, silence reigns, only the faint hum of bees weaving a cocoon of privacy. It is spell of hush, not aggression protective, not destructive. Even in great battles, one can picture witches and wizards casting Muffliato so strategy might be spoken, decisions made in fragile moments. It is charm of trust, of shared confidence, of intimacy safeguarded. In a way, Muffliato is metaphor for rest itself. The mind, filled all day with clamor, longs for a spell to soften the edges, to hush the echoes of worry. Like the buzzing in others' ears, sleep offers protective veil, shielding thoughts from intrusion. To imagine Muffliato in dream is to imagine standing in meadow where bees hum gently, sky-wide and golden, no danger near. Privacy becomes peace, and peace becomes lullaby. The spell is obscure, perhaps, but its heart is timeless. Sometimes courage lies not in roaring louder, but in claiming space for quiet. Few spells carry such playful mischief in their very name. Wadiwasi rolls off the tongue with bounce, as though it were made for laughter. With wand flicked sharply, it launches small objects through the air at remarkable speed. Professor Lupin demonstrated it once with perfect charm. A wad of chewing gum lodged in a keyhole shot out like arrow, smacking Peeves the poltergeist directly on the nose. Students gasped, then roared with delight. In that moment, Wadiwasi revealed itself as spell of humor, quick relief against annoyance. Yet beneath its comedy lies truth about magic. Not all incantations are for mortal peril or solemn ceremony. Some exist simply to bring joy, to restore ease, to solve inconveniences with flair. Imagine dormitories alive with laughter as parchment scraps become makeshift projectiles, soaring like comets. Picture long study nights when someone grows restless and Wadiwasi sends quill spiraling across room, breaking tension into smiles. It is harmless, yet unforgettable, and therein lies its charm. Dreamlike imagery comes easily with this spell. In the hush of candlelit common room, paper airplanes might drift in enchanted arcs, glowing faintly in torchlight, every flick of wand painting sky with harmless meteors. The air itself seems lighter under Wadiwasi, as though magic has chosen, for once, to laugh with its casters. Even Peeves, though offended, surely relished attention, for mischief recognizes mischief. In bedtime reverie, Wadiwasi teaches us that play is not wasted time. Laughter is courage, too, the kind that eases heavy hearts. To cast Wadiwasi in dream is to feel weight lift, to remember that magic exists not only to shield but to delight. As sleep gathers, one can almost hear giggle of friends, objects whizzing like fireflies through twilight, harmless rebellion against seriousness of world. The spell whispers that joy itself is a form of bravery, worth conjuring often. Secrets are like stars hidden behind clouds, waiting for right moment to shine. Aparecium is spell that parts veil, coaxing hidden writing into view. Hermione Granger cast it in early days, when mystery weighed heavily and truth was elusive. With wand drawn over parchment, letters bloom slowly, ink crawling like ivy across page until words stand revealed. It is quiet spell, one that demands patience rather than force, yet it carries power, revelation, honesty, clarity. Imagine students sitting in libraries' deep silence, parchment before them empty but for faint shimmer. With whispered incantation, shapes appear, diary entries long concealed, instructions forgotten, perhaps secrets never meant to be known. Aparecium feels less like attack and more like dawn. Darkness lifts, outlines sharpen, world speaks plainly at last. In dreams, Aparecium becomes tender metaphor. How many worries we hide, locked away in corners of heart. This spell reminds us that what is concealed will not remain so forever. In gentle light of moon, hidden ink glows faintly, not to terrify but to soothe. It tells us that secrets lose power when revealed, that honesty, even when painful, sets soul free. To picture casting Aparecium is to picture stars emerging one by one as clouds part. The sky becomes parchment, ink drawn in constellations, every secret finally named. For bedtime, this spell carries deep peace. It assures us that unknown will not remain forever shadowed. Truth has rhythm of inevitability, and when it arrives, it softens rather than shatters. Aparecium is spell of unveiling, dreamlike promise that clarity will always come, as surely as morning follows night. Where some spells burn with fire or dazzle with lightning, Orchideus blooms quietly from wand tip with gentlest of magic. One incantation, one flourish, and bouquet of flowers unfurls as though grown in heartbeat. Roses, lilies, orchids, each conjured from nothing but air, radiant in color and alive with fragrance. Orchideus is enchantment of beauty, born not from necessity but from desire to bring joy. In Hogwarts halls, one imagines shy Gryffindor conjuring blossoms for companion, or professor absent-mindedly producing daisies mid-lecture. The spell carries warmth of spring even in castle stone, reminder that magic can nurture as well as defend. Flowers summoned are ephemeral, fading with time, yet their fleetingness is part of charm. They mirror life's own fragility, encouraging us to cherish moment of bloom. Dream imagery swells around Orchideus. Picture meadow spreading endlessly, every breath of wind scattering new blossoms across horizon. Imagine dormitory table suddenly alive with bouquets, petals glowing under soft lamplight, scent drifting like lullaby. Casting Orchideus feels like opening window to April morning, even when night outside is heavy. It is spell of gifts, of kindness shared, of hearts lifted by unexpected beauty. In bedtime reflection, Orchideus teaches us to conjure gentleness in midst of turmoil. Bravery may roar like lion, but it also blossoms quietly, offering comfort. The spell whispers reminder, life is not only about battles won, but flowers given, laughter shared, love made visible. As sleep enfolds, Orchideus blooms endlessly in dream meadows, petals falling soft as feathers, covering night with fragrance of peace. Every voice has rhythm. Sometimes it rises, sometimes it rests. Where sonorous amplifies speech into thunder, quietus lowers it again, restoring hush. With small gesture and gentle word, echoes diminish. Words soften until they are no more than murmur. This spell belongs to performers' concluding act, storytellers lowering voice after tale, or friends seeking rest after noise. It is balance to clamor, companion to silence. Imagine great hall alive with speeches, then suddenly stilled as quietus settles across rafters. Candles flicker more gently, air feels calmer, conversations slip into whispers. It is like curtain falling after play, velvet dark embracing audience. The spell is not erasure but transition, guiding sound back into stillness where it belongs. In dreams embrace, quietus becomes lullaby. Picture snowfall outside tower windows, each flake muting world further. Picture library at midnight, footsteps hushed by ancient stone. To cast quietus is to invite peace, to soothe edges of day until only calm remains. It is spell that understands need for endings, for quiet chapters after loud ones. For those seeking sleep, quietus is perfect charm. It reassures that noise can fade, that mind may rest. Just as words retreat under its magic, so too do worries, retreating into silence where dreams wait. In bedtime imagination, quietus hums like final note of song, lingering, then vanishing into still air. It reminds us that stillness is gift, and that even magic honors silence. There is a soft satisfaction in the click of a lock, the gentle certainty that comes from knowing a door will not open unless you wish it to. Colloportus is the spell for that feeling. With a swirl of the wand and the whispered syllables, a door seals itself, bolt sliding invisibly into place. In the novels it appears fleetingly, but one can imagine its many uses. Students hiding from Filch, aurors securing secret meetings, families closing cottage doors against night. The sound it makes is almost a sigh, as though the wood itself is relieved to rest. Dreamlike imagery comes easily. Picture a candlelit corridor, shadows dancing on stone, as a young witch runs, heart racing. She presses palm to door, murmurs colloportus, and feels security ripple through frame. No one will disturb her sanctuary now. The spell is not violent, not aggressive. It is gentle guard, a lock shaped from will. In bedtime thought, colloportus becomes metaphor for boundaries. Just as one might lock a door against intruders, so too can heart lock itself against worries at day's end. To whisper colloportus is to close gate of mind, to hush thoughts, to declare, here inside is peace, and nothing unwelcome shall enter. In dreams, locked doors open only when you are ready, secrets kept safe until morning. Mischief often thrives in small inconveniences, and Langlock embodies that spirit. With sharp flick, Castor binds target's tongue to roof of mouth, silencing them instantly. It was one of Severus Snape's inventions, proof of his cleverness even in youth. Though it could be cruel when misused, one can also imagine playful Gryffindors using it to quiet peeves or hush arguments before they grew too loud. It is spell of silence, but not solemn like quietus. It carries sting of humor, bite of trickster's charm. Picture crowded hallway echoing with shouts. A student, weary of noise, mutters Langlock. Instantly, quarrel dies, as words dissolve into muffled hums. Laughter breaks tension, anger forgotten. Though fleeting, moment is transformed. Dreamlike, isn't it? The idea of tempers cooled not by force but by gentle absurdity, tongues held still until calm returns. In nighttime reverie, Langlock symbolizes need for pause. How often do we wish we could still words before they wound, silence arguments before they scar? This obscure spell whispers lesson. Sometimes kindness is in withholding sound, in letting silence mend rifts. In Dreamscape, Langlock feels less like gag and more like peace, a hush that replaces quarrel with quiet understanding. For sleep, it is reminder that silence, though inconvenient in day, is balm at night. The tickling charm may seem frivolous, yet within its syllables lies profound reminder. Laughter is magic, too. Rictus Sempra sends waves of uncontrollable giggles coursing through its target, disarming them not with pain but with mirth. In dueling clubs, it was used to great effect. Opponents doubled over, wands slipping from hands as laughter consumed them. Unlike darker hexes, Rictus Sempra leaves no scar, only sore ribs and flushed cheeks. Picture Harry in chamber, wand pointed, light flashing as spell connects. Enemy stumbles back, not in agony, but in helpless laughter, body shaking like reed in wind. The charm, dreamlike in its absurdity, is reminder that joy can topple even fiercest stance. Imagine casting it not in duel but in gathering of friends, conjuring sudden chorus of giggles until common room rings with happiness. In bedtime reflection, Rictus Sempra is warm memory of shared laughter, of moments when gloom lifted because someone dared to be silly. It teaches that courage is not always solemn, that even in darkness, joy is weapon strong enough to break chains of fear. To dream of Rictus Sempra is to dream of skies filled with laughter like bells, ringing endlessly, chasing shadows into corners. It is obscure charm, yes, but it glows softly like lantern, illuminating path to peace. There is a strange elegance in spell that turns objects to stone. Duro, uttered with calm authority, transforms wood, cloth, or flesh into hardened rock. Though not often mentioned, its potential is vast. Imagine staircase suddenly solidifying beneath pursuit, or tapestry becoming stone wall shielding those behind it. In ancient duels, one can picture wizards sculpting defenses instantly, fortress rising where none existed seconds before. Dreamlike imagery surrounds it. Picture library draped in velvet curtains, wand flicks, word spoken, duro. Curtain stiffens, hardens, becomes slab of gray stone shimmering under candlelight. The room is transformed, soft fabric made enduring shield. There is poetry in this, fragility turned into strength, softness crystallized into permanence. In bedtime meditation, duro becomes metaphor for resilience. Just as cloth becomes stone, so too can weary spirit harden gently against troubles, not cruelly, not forever, but enough to endure. To imagine duro is to imagine heart shielding itself, just for night until morning brings renewal. In dreamscapes, walls rise not to imprison but to protect, guarding slumber like ancient castle walls. Duro whispers that transformation can bring safety, that even frail things can stand strong. Deep beneath Black Lake, Harry once used relatio to free himself from grindylos, jets of boiling water bursting from his wand. The spell is one of release, a command to let go. Chains fall, grips loosen, bindings shatter beneath its force. Though it can sting, its essence is liberation. Where colloportus closes, relatio opens. Where duro hardens, relatio softens. It is incantation of freedom. Small word with great mercy. Picture diver entangled in kelp, fear rising. Wand moves relatio, and suddenly the weeds recoil. Grasp loosened. Air floods lungs. Movement returns. Imagine also more ordinary uses. Ropes slipping from wrists. Stuck door handle suddenly clicking free. It is spell of movement, of flow restored. For dreams, relatio is powerful symbol. We carry burdens, fears, regrets, bindings invisible but heavy. To whisper relatio in mind before sleep is to command those bonds to fall away. Let go, the spell says, of today's weight. Release, it says, and step into still waters of night unchained. In dreamscape, ropes dissolve, chains scatter, wings unfurl. Relatio hums with liberation, a lullaby of release, perfect for guiding weary heart into restful drift. There is tenderness in a spell designed not to wound, but to mend. Episci is simple incantation that heals minor injuries. A bloody nose, a broken lip, a small bruise. Tonks once used it on Harry, and the sting was sharp, but relief soon followed. The magic hums like warm compress, a glow that spreads through skin and eases hurt. It is not dramatic, not grand, but it is kind. Imagine common room after Quidditch, laughter ringing, yet one player holds swollen finger. A friend whispers Episci, and with spark of light, pain recedes. There is intimacy in such magic, proof that care is woven into every day. Wizards may duel with flames and serpents, but just as often they patch scraped knees with gentle charm. In dreamlike thought, Episci is balm for soul. We carry unseen bruises, words spoken sharply, worries that ache. To picture casting Episci is to picture warmth flooding those hurts, soothing them until breath comes easier. In sleep, the incantation becomes whisper, you are healing. Each syllable is promise that tomorrow will ache less. Episci may be obscure, yet it glows softly as candle, a healer's lullaby. With swift movement and quiet word, Ferula conjures bandages and splints, wrapping wounds in instant care. It is practical magic, conjuring comfort where chaos reigns. One can imagine healers using it on battlefield, wood snapping into brace, cloth binding tightly, giving strength to broken limb until full healing is possible. Dream imagery paints it vividly. Picture traveler stumbling in forest, ankle twisted, with wand raised, ferula, and air itself weaves cloth, wood spiraling into brace snug around leg. The forest hushes, as though acknowledging compassion. Magic here is not about conquest, but preservation, gift of stability until recovery is near. At bedtime, ferula is metaphor for support. Sometimes hurts cannot vanish at once. They need splints of patience, bandages of time. Ferula reminds us that help can come in stages, that even temporary support matters. In dreamscape, we see glowing strips of linen binding heart's cracks, soft wood bracing weary spirit, holding us steady while we rest. Ferula hums like guardian's hand, reminding us that though wounds may not heal overnight, we are held until morning. Among peculiar spells is mobila corpus, charm that allows caster to levitate and direct limp body. Strange, perhaps unsettling, yet also useful in rescue. Imagine Aurors retrieving fallen comrade, guiding them gently through air rather than dragging across ground. The spell wraps form in invisible threads, holding it upright, leading it softly. Visualize candlelit corridor after duel. A friend lies unconscious, wand raises, mobilicorpus, and body rises gently, as though lifted by unseen arms. The caster whispers comfort though companion cannot hear. They float together down hall, shadows long against stone. Dreamlike, isn't it? The idea of being carried safely, cradled by unseen magic when we are too weary to stand. At bedtime, mobilicorpus becomes metaphor for surrender. Sometimes we cannot carry ourselves. Sometimes we must be borne by others' care. In dreams, unseen threads lift us, guide us through starlit sky, carrying us toward peace. The spell tells us that even when strength fails, kindness will not let us fall. Though obscure, it is incantation of trust to float, to rest, to know we are safe in unseen hands. Laughter erupts when Tarantalagra takes hold. This whimsical spell forces target's legs to dance uncontrollably, steps flying in wild rhythm. Malfoy once used it in duel against Harry, but beyond mischief, there is delight in imagining rigid feet suddenly springing into lively jig. Magic sometimes insists we do not take ourselves too seriously. Picture crowded hall tense with rivalry. Wands clash, sparks fly. Then suddenly, one student's legs leap, toes tapping madly, knees kicking in wild rhythm. Gasps turn to laughter. Tension dissolves into absurd spectacle. The charm is inconvenient, but it is harmless, turning confrontation into comedy. Dreamlike, Tarantalegra becomes spell of joy. In sleep, one might imagine forest filled with dancers, trees tapping roots in rhythm, stars swaying above. The charm whispers lesson. When weight feels heavy, let body move, let laughter break chains. Bedtime reflection sees it as reminder that joy itself can be resistance. To dance, even when world darkens, is to defy despair. Tarantalagra is incantation of levity, obscure but radiant, urging us all to dance into dreams. Of all obscure charms, Obliviate carries deepest sorrow. It erases memory, wiping away threads of identity, leaving silence where once lived stories. Hermione cast it upon her parents, replacing herself with fiction of another life so they might be safe. To imagine her quiet face as she raised wand is to feel weight of spell. Obliviate is protective, but it is also lonely. Picture living room in evening glow. Photographs shimmer on mantle. Hermione whispers, "Obliviate," and pictures change, faces blur, love rewritten. Her parents smile unaware, free from danger, yet daughter disappears from their mind. Spell is both gift and grief, shielding yet severing. In dreams, Obliviate is reminder of impermanence. Not all memories stay. Some fade with time, some vanish by choice. Yet heart remembers, even when mind forgets. Echoes linger, love persists. At bedtime, Obliviate teaches us gentleness with memory's fragility. We do not control what stays, but we can cherish what remains. In dreamscape, erased pages of diary flutter blank, yet warmth of ink lingers faintly, like ghost of touch. Obliviate whispers not despair, but bittersweet truth. Love outlasts even forgetting. Growth is a natural wonder, and Engorgio is magic that quickens it. With a firm incantation, object swells larger and larger, ballooning into exaggerated size. Ron once used it poorly, but under skilled hands it can enlarge teacups into basins, spiders into monstrous creatures, or trunks into wardrobes. Though comic at times, Engorgio holds deeper symbolism, potential realized, hidden capacity revealed in an instant. Picture student practicing in empty classroom, wand pointed at pebble. Engorgio. The pebble swells, becoming stone, then boulder, until it thuds heavily on floor. Laughter bubbles. but beneath is awe. To summon growth is to command transformation. In dreamlike imagery, Engorgio is meadow of daisies suddenly towering tall as trees, petals casting shade like parasols. At bedtime, Engorgio whispers lesson of abundance. We, too, carry seeds of greatness that can expand when nurtured. Our thoughts, our kindness, our courage may grow larger than we imagine. To dream of Engorgio is to dream of possibilities unfolding, small heart swelling vast with compassion, tiny light glowing into sun. Spell teaches that within every pebble rests a mountain, within every moment a lifetime. Growth, it says, is magic of its own. Counterpart to Engorgio, Reducio shrinks objects back to smaller form. With wand's precision, towering item becomes manageable trinket once again. It is practical charm for travelers, allowing books to fit in pockets, trunks and handbags. But beyond utility, Reducio embodies simplicity, art of returning vastness to its essence. Picture witch on journey, trunk far too large. She lifts wand, whispers Reducio, and heavy chest shrinks to matchbox, tucked neatly away. Burden becomes feather light, impossible made easy. Dreamlike, Reducio is forest of oaks reduced to bonsai, vast galaxies condensed into glowing marbles in palm. In bedtime reflection, Reducio speaks of release. When life feels overwhelming, magic offers reminder. Burdens can shrink. Worries, like trunks, can be made small, held lightly instead of crushing. Spell whispers that scale is not fixed. Vastness can be gentled, heaviness eased. To dream of Reducio is to dream of troubles folded neatly, shrunk to pebble, pocketed away until morning. It comforts weary heart with promise. Size is perspective, and even great weight can be made small. There is laughter in defiance, and ridiculous is spell that teaches it. Used against boggarts, it transforms fearsome shapes into humorous forms, robbing them of terror. Neville once turned Snape into figure wearing grandmother's clothes, and class erupted in laughter. Ridiculous is more than trick, it is philosophy, that fear loses grip when met with joy. Imagine dark wardrobe trembling, door creaks open, nightmare emerging, wand rises, ridiculous, and monster bursts into clownish parody. Spider teeters on roller skates, banshee squeaks like mouse, terror dissolves into giggles. Spell is shield woven of humor, defense crafted from delight. At bedtime, ridiculous is perfect lullaby. Night breeds worries, shadows loom larger, yet incantation whispers, laugh at them, soften them, let fear wear funny hat and stumble away. In dreamscape, dragons wear polka dots, exams sprout butterfly wings, anxieties trip over shoelaces. Ridiculous transforms darkness into theater of comedy. It reminds us that mind has power to reframe, to rob fear of fangs. For rest, it is precious lesson. Courage sometimes begins with smile. Not all silences are born of peace. Sometimes they are conjured. Silencio quiets its target completely, voice vanishing as though swallowed by air. It is spell of restraint, often used to hush noisy creatures, yet it hums with deeper resonance. In classroom, professor may silence chattering bird. In duel, silence opponent's spell before it forms. It is quiet, not chosen but imposed. Dream imagery paints it well. Imagine raven perched in rafters cawing endlessly. Wand flicks, silencio, and bird's beak opens soundlessly, wings flapping in mute rhythm. The hush is uncanny, heavy as snow. At bedtime, Silencio becomes reflection on stillness. Some silence is comfort, others confine. Spell reminds us to distinguish between them. To dream of silencio is to drift through a world where everything moves without sound. Rivers run mute, wind bends trees wordlessly, stars shimmer in hush. It is both eerie and serene, teaching us that silence is double-edged. For rest, silencio whispers possibility, that within silence lies chance to listen inward, to hear heart's quiet pulse. To know one is not alone is gift of this incantation. Hominum revelio reveals human presence nearby, names unseen companions in shadows. Dumbledore used it in caves and chambers, sensing others with ease. It is subtle magic, not showy, yet it offers deep comfort, certainty of company, awareness of friend or foe. Picture lone traveler in forest. Night deepens, torches dim. Wand lifts, hominum revelio. Suddenly, awareness blooms others nearby, hearts beating in dark. The spell whispers, you are not alone. Whether comfort or warning, knowledge is grounding. In dreamscape, hominum revelio glows like lantern, silhouettes of companions shimmering into view. It reassures that solitude is illusion, that unseen connections thread always around us. For bedtime, spell carries warmth. Though day is done, and house silent, others share same sky, same stars. To whisper it is to remember bonds unbroken by distance. Homenum revelio is obscure charm, yet profound, a lullaby of togetherness. There is fascination in spell that multiplies. Geminio creates duplicates of object touched by wand, crafting illusions indistinguishable from original. In Gringotts, Hermione once faced vault, cursed with Geminio. Treasure multiplied endlessly, smothering intruders beneath avalanche of false gold. The charm was meant as defense, but its essence is more curious. Abundance without value, copies without soul. Picture quiet workshop, candle flickering. A single coin rests on table. Wand flicks, Geminio. Another appears, then another. Soon table glitters, surface overflowing with shining discs. Yet each is hollow, fading to dust when touched. Dreamlike, the spell conjures vision of library, where one book multiplies into thousands, shelves bending beneath weight of words. Yet each page repeats same line forever. At bedtime, Geminio offers gentle lesson. Not everything multiplied enriches. True worth is in singular. In authenticity, we may chase abundance, more books, more treasures, more hours yet without meaning. They weigh heavy as false gold. In dreams, Geminio becomes wave of blossoms, endless roses filling room, beauty dizzying until one realizes fragrance is illusion. The spell teaches us to value one real rose above thousand shadows. As sleep deepens, Geminio whispers truth. More is not always better. Sometimes enough is enough. Travel in wizarding world often requires boldness, yet Portus makes journey instantaneous. With careful wand work, ordinary object transforms into portkey, charged to whisk travelers to distant place. Dumbledore once turned battered boot into such key, and in blink of eye, Harry and others were swept across miles. The charm hums with strange anticipation. Touch, spin, blur of color, and ground appears beneath new sky. Imagine storm-swept moor, air sharp with rain. On grass lies old teacup unnoticed. Wand touches, Portus. Cup shivers, glowing faintly. Hours later, group gathers, each clutching handle. They vanish, space folding, reappearing in torchlit hall far away. Dreamlike, Portus embodies magic of movement. Distance collapsed into heartbeat. For bedtime, Portus is incantation of surrender. Sleep itself is portkey, carrying us from waking world into dreamscape without effort. One moment, candle flickers. Next moment, fields of stars unfold. Portus reminds us that journeys need not always be long. Some happen in blink, in hush of breath. In dreams, portkeys are feathers, seashells, stray pebbles, each carrying us into adventure of mind. Spell comforts restless heart. No place is unreachable, and travel can be as easy as touch. Wands remember. With prior incantato, wizard may reveal last spell cast, ghostly echo of incantation shimmering from wand tip. Amos Diggory once used it to summon shadow of dark mark, revealing truth hidden in air. It is magic of memory, of traces left behind. Each wand, like each soul, carries record of actions. Picture midnight field, torches flaring, accusations rise. Wand is seized, words spoken, prior incantato. From tip unfurls ghostly shape serpent twisting from skull, mark undeniable. The past cannot be erased. It flickers pale as smoke, yet clear. Dreamlike, one imagines forest, where every tree whispers spells once cast near roots, air thick with echoes of history. At bedtime, prior incantato reminds us of memory's persistence. We, too, carry traces of day words spoken, deeds done lingering like faint light. Yet spell teaches gentleness. Echoes are not future, only reflections. In dreams, wan light reveals laughter shared, kindness offered, letting us sleep warmed by memory. Even darker acts appear softened, smoke dissipating into sky. Prior incantato whispers, past leaves marks, but they are not chains. They are stories, and stories can guide, not bind. Few spells are both obscure and infamous. Sectum Sempra, invented by young Severus Snape, is curse of slashing blades, unseen yet cruel. When Harry used it against Malfoy, wounds bloomed across skin as though cut by sword. It is dangerous magic, whispered in margins of old textbook, born of anger and desperation. Imagine duel in shadowed bathroom, tiles gleaming with water, wand flicks, word escapes. Sectum Sempra. Light bursts, an opponent cries out, robes shredded, blood darkening floor. Terrible, haunting. Yet in dreamlike vision, one can also imagine reverse Snape himself healing with counter curse, wand tracing threads of light, closing what was torn. Spell holds duality, creation of harm, knowledge of repair. For bedtime, Sectum Sempra is meditation on power. Words carry weight. Anger unleashes blades sharper than steel. Yet even in obscurity, it teaches lesson. Use of magic reflects heart. To dream of Sectum Sempra is to walk edge of knife, aware of danger and cruelty. It whispers caution. Let not bitterness write incantations. In rest, we transform lesson into gentleness, choosing words that heal instead of cut. Sectum Sempra, obscure and dark, is reminder that even shadows instruct, guiding us toward light. To speak legilimens is to pierce veil of mind, glimpsing thoughts, memories, emotions hidden beneath. Snape used it to test Harry. Dumbledore wielded it with restraint. It is spell of intimacy and intrusion, gift and violation entwined. Few master it, for it requires both power and control, yet its existence haunts wizarding world. Who can truly guard their mind? Imagine chamber lit by single torch. Snape's eyes narrow, wand lifts. Legilimens. Suddenly mind is not private corridors stretch open, memories flicker like film, secrets bare. The sensation is dizzying. vulnerable, yet practiced occlumens can resist, raising walls, turning back intruder. Duel of wills unfolds silently, without sparks, only intensity of gaze. In dreamscape, Legolimens becomes reflection on empathy. To touch another's thoughts is dangerous, but to understand them is precious. Spell teaches balance, to listen deeply without seizing, to share without stealing. At bedtime, it reminds us that connection is gift. True insight comes not from force, but from trust. To dream of Legolimens is to wander through mind palace of friend invited, halls filled with laughter, memories glowing like lanterns. Spell whispers. Thoughts are sacred, best shared by choice. Rarely mentioned, obliviosus is cousin to obliviate, but softer, less final. Where obliviate wipes memory entirely, obliviosus blurs edges, dimming sharp detail into haze. Wizards might use it to soften trauma, to make cruel images fade into gentler outlines. Yet it is delicate art, requiring restraint, for memories shape who we are. Picture healer in ward, leaning over patient trembling from fright. Wand lifts obliviosus. Slowly, fear in eyes lessens as vivid images dissolve into fog, leaving calm in their place. Memory is not erased but muted, softened like painting blurred with water, dreamlike. This spell feels like mist drifting across landscape, covering harsh rocks in veil of quiet. At bedtime, obliviosus is metaphor for forgetting day's worries, sharp mistakes, stinging words, heavy anxieties all blurred by sleep until their edges no longer cut. To whisper this incantation in mind is to invite mercy upon memory, not denial, but softening. In dreams, harsh voices fade into whispers, regrets dissolve into mist. Spell assures, you do not have to carry everything vividly. Some moments may rest quietly, blurred and harmless, while you drift toward dawn. Air itself becomes ally under Ventus. With sweep of wand, gust of wind bursts forth, scattering objects, driving back foes, clearing smoke. Though simple, spell carries grandeur of element itself, invisible yet mighty. It is seldom highlighted, yet one can imagine countless uses, extinguishing flames, filling sails, turning pages in sudden flurry. Picture duelist cornered in chamber filled with choking fog. Wand slices air Ventus. Gale roars forth, smoke torn away, vision clear again. Candles flicker wildly, robes billow as though storm had entered hall. In dreamlike imagery, Ventus becomes breath of giants, sigh of sky itself lending strength to caster. At bedtime Ventus whispers renewal. Just as breeze clears stagnant air, so can gentle gusts clear mind. To imagine Ventus is to feel window opened on warm night, wind carrying fragrance of meadow, easing lungs. Spell teaches, sometimes answer to heaviness is fresh air, movement, letting wind sweep clutter away. In dreams, Ventus is sky-wide exhale, brushing soul with cool relief. It comforts sleeper with promise. Storms may howl, but breeze will always return, lifting weight gently from shoulders. Striking sparks with syllables, Lacarnum inflammare ignites small flames, handy for light or warmth. Hermione used it in early adventures, torching ropes to free herself and friends. The incantation feels sharp, syllables crackling like tinder catching spark. Magic of survival, of comfort, of beginnings. Picture dark cavern, walls dripping with damp. A lone witch mutters Lacarnum inflammare, and sudden flame leaps, orange glow spilling across stone. Shadows flee, warmth spreads, fear diminishes. Dreamlike, it is like holding star in palm, fire kindled from nothing. At bedtime, spell becomes metaphor for hope. Even smallest spark can dispel vast darkness. One candle lights room, one flame warms many. To dream of Lacarnum inflammare is to dream of hearth igniting, fire roaring gentle and steady, night transformed into sanctuary. It teaches courage in beginnings, that one spark, no matter how small, is enough to change world. As sleep deepens, flames of this charm become stars overhead, each one reminder that light never forgets to return. This charm, conjuring magical rope of light, pulls distant objects toward caster or draws caster to target. Carpe retractum is both grasp and journey, line of energy connecting here to there. Harry and others practiced it in competitions, its golden cord shimmering like tether spun from starlight. Imagine chamber with ledge high above, wand arcs, carpe retractum. Brilliant rope shoots forth, wrapping firmly, and with tug, body rises, gliding upward as though drawn by destiny. Dreamlike, rope becomes bridge between worlds, binding present to future, pulling seeker ever forward. In bedtime reverie, carpe retractum is metaphor for connection. We reach for goals, for people, for dreams that feel distant. Spell whispers, threads exist, golden lines ready to pull us closer. In dreams, stars lower themselves on cords of light, treasures drift gently into hands, beloved faces approach across distances. Carpe retractum assures us, what you seek is not unreachable. There is always cord of light ready to reel it in, even in sleep. Protective incantations often shine brightest, and Salvio Hexia is one such charm. Cast in series, it builds invisible shield around space, deflecting curses, concealing those within. Hermione used it faithfully while camping with Harry and Ron, weaving safety with every flick of wand. Each layer strengthened protection, like bricks forming wall unseen. Picture forest clearing, night heavy, dangers lurking. Hermione's wand moves again and again. Salvio Hexia, air shimmers faintly, like heat over stone. Inside, friends rest safe, danger warded off by unseen dome. Dreamlike, it feels like bubble of serenity, fragile yet strong, holding chaos at bay. At bedtime, Salvio Hexia is metaphor for boundaries of rest. We, too, build wards before sleep, curtains drawn, doors closed, prayers whispered, rituals repeated. Spell reminds us that safety can be conjured, not always visible but deeply felt. In dreamscape, dome of light spreads wide, encasing dreamer in glow of peace. Salvio Hexia whispers, rest without fear, walls unseen guard your slumber. It is charm of sanctuary, obscure perhaps, but lullaby in incantation. With a flick of wand and whisper of Avis, flock of birds bursts forth fluttering into air. Tiny wings beat like soft drums, feathers scattering light in dazzling dance. It is not combat charm, not healing art, but conjuration of life, fragile and fleeting. Birds may serve as distraction, but they are also companions of sky, song given form. Picture wizard standing alone in courtyard at dusk. Wand lifts, Avis, and suddenly air fills with sparrows, robins, finches, each circling, their calls mingling with toll of distant bells. Silence transforms into choir of wings. Dreamlike, spell paints sky with motion, as though thoughts themselves have taken flight. At bedtime, Avis becomes metaphor for release. Our minds are full of restless birds, fluttering thoughts seeking sky. Casting Avis is like opening cage, letting them fly until silence returns within. In dreams, Birds shimmer with starlight, guiding sleeper across night sky, wings carrying burdens away. Spell reminds us that beauty can be conjured even in loneliness, that song exists even in silence. Avis whispers, "Let thoughts take wing, and follow them into peaceful slumber." There is strange power in spell that commands creatures to attack. Opugno was used by Hermione once in anger, sending conjured birds diving at rival. The incantation is sharp, syllables like whip crack, energy snapping into obedience. It reveals duality. Conjured beauty, when guided by fury, becomes weapon. Imagine library corridor, tension high. Wand slashes air. Opugno. Birds once gentle wheel sharply, eyes gleaming, beaks striking. Opponent cowers beneath storm of feathers. Dreamlike, spell reveals truth. Intention shapes outcome. What begins as song may end as strike, depending on heart of caster. At bedtime, Opugno teaches caution. Words, like birds, can be summoned for beauty or for harm. Anger may twist even gentleness into blade. In Dreamscape, one sees flocks hovering between choices, to sing lullabies or to dive. Spell reminds, power is neutral, but direction is ours to choose. For sleep, Opugno is warning softened into comfort. Even mistakes can guide, teaching us to wield emotions with care. Birds, once fierce, dissolve into starlight, settling on bedpost, singing softly until dreams arrive. Rain pelts, water blurs, yet with single word impervious barrier forms. This charm repels moisture, rendering objects waterproof, eyes clear, books safe. Hermione once cast it on Harry's glasses, and suddenly downpour became harmless. Magic here is shield, not from blades or curses, but from elements themselves. Picture Quidditch match in storm. Rain lashes players, cloaks heavy, but one mutters impervious. Drops slide away as though glass dome surrounds. Vision sharpens, broom steady. Dreamlike. Spell is bubble of dryness in endless rain, comfort against chill. At bedtime, impervious is metaphor for resilience. World storms rage, yet we may cloak ourselves in charm of calm. Worries drip like rain, but do not soak. Sadness falls, but does not drown. In dreams, impervious is canopy of light above sleeper, raindrops striking but never entering. Spell whispers, storms exist, but they cannot reach you here. It is lullaby of dryness, warmth preserved against world's cold torrents. Steps can be tedious, yet Glisseo transforms them into slide. With flick of wand, staircase smooths, rails gleam, and caster may glide downward like child on playground. It is spell of play, turning ordinary movement into joy. Luna Lovegood once suggested it during escape, and groups slid swift and safe. Picture grand marble staircase. Wand flicks, Glisseo. Steps melt smooth, sheen like ice. Students squeal, tumbling down in laughter, cloaks billowing. Stone fortress becomes playground of speed and delight. Dreamlike, spell is river of polished stone, carrying dreamer downward like leaf on stream. At bedtime, Glisseo is metaphor for ease. Paths need not always be steep. Effort can sometimes give way to glide. To dream of Glisseo is to feel burdens lighten, struggles smooth into playful descent. Spell whispers, not all journeys must be hard. Sometimes joy carries you forward faster than toil. In Dreamscape, every staircase gleams, inviting gentle slide into world of stars. Obscure cousin to Aparecium, Aparecium Lux reveals hidden markings through glow of light, rarely taught, whispered in old texts, It brings forth symbols invisible even to apparesium. Light spreads like ink, words glowing faint blue upon surface. Scholars treasure it for deciphering ancient wards. Picture dusty library at midnight. Student traces wand, apparesium lux. Suddenly wall blooms with glowing runes, centuries-old wisdom returning to sight. Room glows faintly, as though moon has etched writing itself. Dreamlike, spell feels like stars spilled across stone, constellations telling stories. At bedtime, apparesium lux is metaphor for illumination. Sometimes truths are not erased but hidden, waiting for right glow to reveal them. In dreams, spell lights forgotten corners of memory, showing kindness once overlooked, joy once forgotten. It whispers, truths are always there, waiting to be seen by gentle light. For sleeper, apparesium lux is night light, glowing softly until rest enfolds. Few things are as immediate as sudden ropes springing from air. Incarcerous binds target with thick cords, coiling tightly around limbs, rendering them helpless. It is practical, useful for capturing foes or halting chaos, yet beyond restraint, there is poetry in conjuring lines from nothing, threads weaving bonds from mere intent. Picture duel raging in echoing hall. Wands flare, sparks fly. One witch flicks wrist, incarcerous, and ropes erupt, snaking around opponent, pinning arms, winding like living vines. Struggle halts. Silence spreads. Dreamlike, ropes shimmer golden, not harsh but soft, like ribbons binding gently. At bedtime, incarcerous becomes metaphor for containment. Our thoughts, wild as duel, may need ropes to still them, not forever, just enough to rest. To dream of incarcerous is to imagine cords of starlight wrapping worries, tying them neatly, setting them aside. Spell whispers, let chaos be bound, let night hold you gently. In sleep, ropes are not chains but blankets, weaving cocoon of safety. Incarcerous, obscure yet vivid, shows that even restraint can be kindness when meant to soothe. A variant of gentler charm, Orchideus maxima bursts forth in riot of blossoms. Where Orchideus conjures bouquet, Maxima floods room with blossoms tumbling like waterfall. Flowers cascade in dazzling abundance, roses and orchids, lilies and violets, each conjured petal perfect fragrance overwhelming. It is magic of splendor, generosity exaggerated. Picture banquet hall awaiting guests. Wand lifts, Orchideus maxima, and in blink, ceiling rains blossoms, garlands twist around pillars, floor soft with petals. Gasps echo as dull chamber becomes paradise. Dreamlike, spell turns air itself into garden, endless blooms drifting gently like snow of spring. At bedtime, this spell is metaphor for abundance of kindness. One flower is gift, thousands are miracle. To dream of Orchideus maxima is to wander meadow without end, blossoms brushing ankles, scent calming every breath. It whispers, generosity multiplies beauty, kindness blooms endlessly. Spell lulls sleeper into field where flowers bloom forever, reminding heart that world can always offer more beauty, more gentleness, more love. Time itself seems to bend beneath arresto momentum. With incantation, speed halts, falling body slows, tumbling objects drift gently, chaos steadied. Dumbledore used it once to save Quidditch players, halting what might have been deadly plunge. Spell is not attack but mercy, stillness in midst of fall. Picture tower's height, student tumbling from broom, crowd screams, heart races, Wand arcs, arresto momentum. Suddenly, descent slows, robes billowing like parachute, landing soft as feather. Silence breaks into relieved cheer. Dreamlike, spell paints air thick with starlight, time stretched like silver thread. At bedtime, arresto momentum is metaphor for pause. When mind races, thoughts spiraling, incantation whispers, slow down, let yourself drift. Dreams arrive when we cease rushing. Spell reminds that falling is not always final. With gentleness, speed can soften. In dreamscape, stars fall slowly, suspended midair, glowing like lanterns until morning. Arresto momentum assures it is safe to rest. You will not crash. Night itself will catch you, lowering you into peace. Disappearance is strange form of magic, and Evanesco embodies it. With quiet syllable, objects vanish utterly, no smoke, no trace, no echo. Wizards use it to clear mess, to tidy experiments, to erase accidents. But beneath practicality lies mystery. Where does vanished matter go? Some say it dissolves into nothing, others that it shifts into hidden plane. Picture potions class, cauldron bubbling over. Professor flicks wand, Evanesco, foam and mess, vanish instantly, floor clean once more. Students sigh relief. Dreamlike, imagine room cluttered with books and quills, then cleared with whisper, space breathing again. At bedtime, Evanesco is metaphor for letting go. Worries, clutter of thought, heaviness, all can vanish. To whisper Evanesco in mind is to release today's weight into nothingness. In dreams, anxieties crumble like dust, fading into starlight. Spell comforts by reminding not everything must be carried. Some things are meant to disappear, leaving space for rest. Protection charms weave unseen armor, and Protego Totalum is among strongest. Cast with care, it surrounds space with barrier, shielding against intrusion, hex, harm. Hermione layered it with others during camping, each incantation strengthening safety. It is fortress made of will, invisible yet unyielding. Picture forest glade. Friends gather, weary. Hermione circles with wand, murmuring Protego Totalum. Air shimmers faintly, dome spreading wide. Within, fire glows, laughter soft. Beyond, dangers prowl, yet cannot pierce wall. Dreamlike, dome gleams like bubble of glass, stars reflected across curve. At bedtime, Protego Totalum is metaphor for boundaries of peace. Just as charm seals glade, so too may sleeper seal heart against world's noise. To imagine it is to see bed glowing with shield, protecting dreamer through night. Spell whispers, you are safe. Nothing crosses boundary until dawn. In dreams, dome expands, covering sky itself, until universe feels like sheltering home. Among playful jinxes, Meliphor stands out in its absurdity. With flick of wand, it encases target's head in pumpkin. Not illusion, not trick, but full heavy gourd dropped suddenly upon shoulders. Eyes peer through carved holes, muffled voice struggles beneath rind. The spell is humorous yet humbling, turning quarrel into farce. Picture duel on lawn, wands flashing. Suddenly one wizard stumbles back, head swallowed by pumpkin, orange glow comical in sunlight. Laughter breaks tension, fight forgotten. Dreamlike, Meliphor's fills orchard with wandering figures, pumpkins bobbing like lanterns atop cloaks. At bedtime, Meliphor's is metaphor for levity. Seriousness may weigh, arguments may burn, But charm reminds us, sometimes laughter diffuses faster than fire. To dream of metaphors is to see worries capped with pumpkins, silly and harmless. Spell whispers, do not take everything so gravely. In dreamscape, fields glow with lantern heads, bobbing gently, leading path toward peace. The blasting curse is destructive, forceful, feared. Confringo detonates target with explosion, shattering stone, igniting fire. Harry once used it against Inferi, fiery bursts saving him from encroaching horde. It is violent magic, yet even in darkness it carries strange beauty, sparks cascading like fireworks. Picture cavern filled with shadows. Wand arcs, Confringo. Flame erupts, rock splits, darkness recoils, echoes thunder, light floods, then silence. Dreamlike, explosions bloom like fiery flowers, scattering petals of ember into sky. At bedtime, Confringo is meditation on release. Energy pent within us must sometimes burst outward, clearing path. But charm also warns, destruction cannot be undone. Spell teaches restraint, awareness of cost. In dreamscape, explosions are not weapons but celebrations, fireworks blooming endlessly above fields, colors painting night sky. Confringo whispers, passion can destroy or inspire. Let it burn, only to create beauty. Few enchantments are as intricate as the Fidelius charm. It hides secret within soul of chosen keeper, making truth inaccessible unless willingly revealed. Potters used it, binding safety to friend's tongue, and tragedy followed when betrayal came. Spell is at once fortress and fragile trust. Picture cottage by forest, windows glowing warm. Inside, laughter rings, yet outside, house vanishes, invisible to all but those told. Fidelius folds world around truth, cloaking it perfectly. Dreamlike, imagine city where doors appear only to those trusted, streets hidden behind veil of silence. At bedtime, Fidelius speaks of trust. We, too, keep secrets safe within hearts, shared only with chosen. Spell teaches beauty and danger of intimacy, bonds strong enough to hide worlds, yet fragile if broken. In dreamscape, Fidelius becomes constellation revealed only to confidant, sky reshaped by whisper of trust. Spell whispers, some truths live only in love's keeping. Sleep carries that sacredness gently, folding dreamer into unseen home. Hush falls where Muffliato is cast. Invented by marauders, charm fills ears of nearby with buzzing, drowning conversations. Words vanish into veil of sound, granting privacy amid crowd. Mischief birthed it, yet it has kindness too, protecting secrets, shielding confessions. Picture common room bustling, voices clattering. Two students lean close, mutter Muffliato. Around them, others hear only hum, like bees in summer. Their whispers remain safe. Dreamlike, muffled dome of sound hovers, small sanctuary of words. At bedtime, Muffliato becomes metaphor for inner hush. Outside noise traffic, arguments, memories all dissolve into faint buzz, leaving heart free to whisper truth to itself. In dreams, spell hums like bees circling meadow, soothing with gentle drone. Muffliato whispers, silence can be conjured, privacy created, even amid chaos. For sleeper, it is charm of peace, letting mind confide in itself safely until dawn. If Episci mends scratches, Episci Maxima goes further, healing deeper wounds. Rarely taught, it belongs to skilled midi wizards, requiring precision lest harm worsen. It is healing amplified, compassion turned radiant, Light glows from wand, warmth flooding broken bones, torn muscles, fractured spirits. Picture battlefield quiet after clash. Healer kneels by fallen fighter, wand steady. Episci maxima. Golden light surges, knitting wounds, breath returning, tears mix with relief. Dreamlike, spell is dawn breaking over carnage, warmth softening jagged lines. At bedtime, Episci maxima becomes metaphor for deep healing beyond surface. We carry not just cuts of day, but old scars, heavy griefs, incantation whispers. Even those can mend. In dreams, body glows with golden threads, heart stitched anew by light. Spell whispers, you are not beyond repair. Every wound may find balm. It is lullaby of healing, obscure yet profound, cradling dreamer in glow of restoration. From deep water or tight grip, relatio sets free. It forces objects or creatures to release, jets of sparks bursting forth when cast. Harry used it against Grindylows beneath Black Lake, sparks searing until tentacles uncurled. The spell is practical rescue, yet also symbol of release. Picture Lake's dark depths, pressure heavy, arms tightening, wand flicks, bubbles swirl, relatio, sparks flare, grip loosens, freedom surges, air fills lungs once more. Dreamlike, relatio becomes charm of liberation, doors opening, chains snapping, bonds falling away. At bedtime, relatio whispers lesson of letting go. Grudges, fears, regrets they cling like Grindylows. Spell assures, you may loosen them, you may rise to surface. In dreamscape, golden sparks scatter, knots untangle, burdens slip away into water's depth. Relatio comforts weary heart, freedom is possible, release is near. Sleep is itself relatio, body releasing tension, mind unclenching, drifting upward into calm. Hidden paths answer to Descendium. At Hogwarts, statue of one-eyed witch concealed tunnel, and with this word passage opened. Charm unlocks secrets not of lock and key, but of concealed mechanisms. It is incantation of discovery, revealing ways unknown. Picture corridor empty at midnight. Student whispers Descendium, taps hump of statue, stone creaks, hollow yawns open, staircase spirals downward, secret world unveiled, invisible hours before. Dreamlike, spell conjures vision of walls parting like curtains, hidden doors glowing faint blue, inviting exploration. At bedtime, Descendium is metaphor for unseen opportunities. Life holds passages not visible until right word is spoken. To dream it is to wander house where every shadow hides door, every step leads elsewhere. Spell whispers, more exists than you see, pathways wait beyond walls. In rest, Descendium opens tunnels into dreamscape itself, guiding sleeper into realms of imagination. Obscure and scholarly, Specialis Revelio uncovers enchantments placed on object. To eye it may be simple quill, but spell reveals curses, charms, histories tangled in it. Hermione used it to discern properties of Horcrux, truth rising from hidden lair. Picture dusty attic, chest of trinkets, wand lifts, Specialis Revelio, object glows, runes shimmer, enchantments breathe into visibility, secrets untangled, mysteries known. Dreamlike, spell paints tapestry of glowing threads woven through every item, each with story and magic. At bedtime, this incantation speaks of discernment. We see surface, yet beneath lies hidden depth. Spell whispers, look closer, truth shines when invited. In dreamscape, pillows glow with starlit runes, blankets shimmer with histories of warmth, even smallest pebble hums with light. Specialist Revelio comforts by promising, nothing is truly ordinary, everything carries story. Sleep, too, reveals enchantments, dreams that uncover truths unseen in day. Curious and mischievous, Langlock glues victim's tongue to roof of mouth, silencing speech in instant. Snape created it, and Harry once used it against Argus Filch. Practical in mischief, formidable in duel, it is silencing spell sharper than hush. Picture Quirrell loud and brash, wand flicks, Langlock. Instantly, opponent chokes words, tongue stuck, silence forced. Laughter or relief follows, depending on heart of caster. Dreamlike, spell becomes vision of noisy hall falling quiet, voices stilled, peace descending like soft snowfall. At bedtime, Langlock is metaphor for quieting inner chatter. Mind repeats, replays, argues endlessly. Incantation whispers, hush now, tongue of thought, rest against silence. In dreamscape, voices fade, words dissolve, only heartbeat remains. Spell soothes by silencing not with cruelty, but with gentleness. Langlock whispers, not all things must be said. Some peace is found in quiet. Simple yet wondrous, the 4-point spell makes wand a compass. At word point me, it spins, then steadies, tip glowing north. Harry used it in Triwizard Maze, guiding through shifting paths. Modest charm, yet invaluable when lost. Picture forest dense, stars hidden. Wand rises, point me. Tip glows, swivels, settles firm. Direction given. Path revealed. Dreamlike, spell transforms into guiding star in palm. Compass that never falters. At bedtime, point me is metaphor for direction amid confusion. We wander days lost in choices, but within us, compass waits, spell whispers, ask, and guidance comes. In dreamscape, wandlight expands into constellation, mapping safe way through sky. For weary sleeper, it is lullaby of orientation. Even in night, there is north. Even in dreams, there is path. Point me assures heart, you are not lost. You are simply wandering toward dawn.